Yeah, this was it.
What we are watching, all the tech.
This was the video that like pissed me off. We're not gonna watch the whole hour because fuck that. But I wanted to get to my point about conservatives being deplatformed. And it's crazy that he says this on YouTube. He's about to say something while saying it on YouTube with 768,000 views with 2.5 million subscribers. Watch this.
Tech platforms ban Trump and deplatform Parler. The media bay for conservative heads, and House Democrats push forward toward a second impeachment. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. VPN for peace of mind. Whenever you go online, I never do, but I'm going to do it now. Okay, I really don't do this because it's self-serving and it seems silly, but I'm just going to say right now, I want you to go subscribe over at dailywire.com to this show. It's what we do at Daily Wire. The reason I'm saying this is because we are quickly reaching crisis point in terms of the attempt to bar conservatives from virtually every platform.
Wrong. Trump supporters. That's the inequality. That's the inequality that I've been dying to talk about forever.
This is what we are watching in real time happen. On the back of the awful and evil incident at the Capitol last week, the entire tech infrastructure is now mobilizing in order to take conservative outlets off the air, in order to ensure that conservative websites no longer appear. Here's the thing. They may not be doing it right this second, but they have now set the predicate that they can do it whenever they want.
That's how private businesses work, and that's the capitalism out of the small government that you've been crying for ever since 2014. See, you're lying again. Conservatives are not being deplatformed, or else you wouldn't exist. It is impossible for me to understand how conservatives will sit there and be like, they're trying to silence us. Mighty stupid of you to be complaining about censorship on a platform that quite literally you own. If you are part of a group of people that are sitting there saying, insurrection, they stole, stop the steal. I don't want you on my platform. That's the capitalism that you want. If all of a sudden y'all all turn out to be Nazis, I'm allowed to be like, all right, I'm not hosting your servers anymore. Apparently that's unfair. Attacking conservatives is like we're not attacking conservatives. We're attacking people who literally support this weird shit going on in our country right now. And it keeps pissing me off that I have to keep ending up back at this point because y'all like to cry victim every single time. Meanwhile, actual leftists just get shot and killed by the FBI and the CIA. Like, what do you want? What do you want? What are you asking for? What do you feel is happening to your base, your group? Sarah Huckabee posted some dumb shit. Oh, I lost like 20, 30,000 followers ever since big tech cracked down on us. And I'm like, it's funny because the people that were removed off of Twitter were neo-Nazis and like white supremacists. So if you lost a bunch of followers at the same time, those guys got their accounts removed. Put the pieces together. Maybe don't advertise that shit.
And what they are doing right now is that the tech bros have declared war on conservatives. It's going to be
I'm going to use big, affluent, like target words. They're waging war. You don't. Okay, so we're going to go back to The Boys. If you haven't watched The Boys, this is the 4th time I'm referencing this inside of 2 weeks. So it's time for you to go watch it. If you continuously use words like that, people take that to heart and therefore think they're actually at war. Conservatives are not under attack, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't know this now, I'm telling you this for the sake of telling you. Conservatives right now are not under attack by anybody, anywhere whatsoever. It's not happening. It's a dream state. They're lying to you. It's not happening. And do you know why I'm able to say confidently that it's not happening? Because if that were true, I wouldn't be reacting to your content right now. It's not like you're a hard to find target. Conservatives are not being silenced. Conservatives lump them in with QAnon, baseless conspiracy theories, and all this other shit that they feel like is real this. Oh, this is happening. Black people are getting more power. The radical left wants to take over and implement socialism. And they're all a bunch of communists, this, that, and the other. And when you start engaging in all that shit time after time after time after time, what ends up what ends up effectively happening is that people are going to sit there and be like, "Huh, a lot of the stuff that you're talking about isn't really real. Therefore, I probably shouldn't have you out here spitting that dumb shit." But you take the guise of it being under conservatism because you're too stupid to separate the terms and be like, "Yeah, I'm a conservative, but I don't vibe with that QAnon shit." You lumped yourself in with them because they were a rabid supporter of your ideas, your videos, and it helped you get that grift going. Therefore, when it started getting bad, when people started taking it into their own hands and doing weird shit like, oh, I don't know, storming the fucking Capitol, perhaps what happened was like, it seems like the right is turning alt-right, far right, fascist right. And because of that fascist rightism, all of a sudden now I'm starting to think maybe we shouldn't be allowing you guys to be talking all the time on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, because people seem to take your shit super serious, and what ends up happening is people die. People fucking die. People die because of your ideologies. So maybe we shouldn't be allowing your ideologies to spread everywhere. And all of a sudden now, because of that influx, you don't understand the difference between crazy nut conspiracy theory conservatives and regular old Republicans that are just sitting at their home not understanding what the fuck is going on. Which brings me back to The Boys. Remember that episode where the guy literally listened to that strange ass rhetoric about soups coming from other countries and they don't look like us and they're probably Indian or Pakistani or all this other shit, and they we have to make sure our country is safe from all these insurrectionists and these bad supers that are we have to purify our country and make sure it's safe from all these outside invaders. You guys don't find it weird that they decided to lump themselves in with that? That's not weird to y'all? That's not strange? But they don't think about it as strange. They think about it as this is it's freedom of speech. We're allowed to have these ideas. And to be intolerant of these weird ideas is to be intolerant of everyone. I'm sorry, I think gay people should get married. I'm really sorry about that. I'm sorry that black people should have a better foothold in this society and are owed for their years and hundreds of centuries of hard work and what they were put through all the way up until 1965, and even then, all the way up until now. I'm sorry that we didn't finish Reconstruction. And I'm sorry that led us into a whirlpool of whites still think that they should be at the top of the food chain. You are blaming people for the absolute dumb shit that your base promotes. And when you lump all those things together and then they start getting silenced, you can't take that as an attack on you. Are you a white supremacist, Ben Shapiro? Maybe we should talk about it, because it's funny how you like to bring up Hitler all the time. But you don't realize how we got to Hitler, huh?
Slow-moving war. They're going to start with people who are outliers. They're going to start with people who are considered more radical. But they have basically decided that if they, at any point, have the opportunity to take you out, they will take you out. So
it's funny how he made my point for me in 2 sentences and then turned it into, they're only going after the real radical crazy people first, but they're setting the precedent that if this were to happen, it could happen to anybody. Yeah, bro, my account gets restricted for 30 days for saying men are trash. It's not conservatives. It's crazy people. Once we get rid of the crazy people, then you will find out that there is no war on conservatism. Unless the conservatives are actually white supremacists hiding under the guise of conservatism, in which we should probably, shut them the fuck up.
So I can't guarantee how long Apple Podcasts is going to be distributing things like Daily Wire Podcasts. I can't guarantee how long Amazon Web Services is going to allow websites like Daily Wire to be up.
See how he keeps making it about him, but he said earlier, I'm sorry, it's self-serving? Because you are a self-serving grifter. That's all you are, Ben. And I'm sorry that you got the nice studio. I'm sorry that you got all the money. You got the fame. You're able to be on TV shows. You're able to debate people. But you are disingenuous. And the day that you and I meet, I'm going to bring that up in the middle of every argument and every point that you bring up. And I'm going to actually deconstruct you in a way I don't think a lot of people do. Because you are a borderline Trump supporter, but you're really just a natural conservative, realizing that your ideas and your ideologies don't fit in today's world. But because you're afraid of losing all that money and that time and that attention, you're going the Donald Trump route. Everybody's the enemy because they all want to attack conservatives.
You need to go directly to the source. You need to go to dailywire.com right now, and you need to subscribe because it may be, over the course of the next couple of years, it may be the only way you actually get the content that you want. Okay, the way that Facebook is moving, the way that Twitter is moving, the way that all of these outlets are moving, all of these supposed platforms, they are now no longer really platforms. They are now publishers, basically based on what they are doing. The way that all of these outlets are moving, they're moving more and more toward the deplatforming, dismissal, the creation of an echo chamber just for the left. That is what is happening right now. We are watching the purge, okay? And it's not just on the tech level. It is also happening at the corporate level. It's already happened in Hollywood. It is happening in the schools. It is happening nearly everywhere. We are dividing formally into two Americas. Those Americas are not divided by state. They're not really divided by race. Those Americas are divided by politics. There will be a group of corporations that only services the left. There will be a group of online mechanisms that are only allowed to actually platform the left.
So why don't you just make your own platforms? Oh, you tried that and a bunch of neo-Nazis flooded it and talked about killing Capitol members and killing Congress members and killing senators. Oh, and killing the vice president of the United States. I wonder if there's a correlation here.
And the right's going to have to build its own outside mechanisms. I've been warning about this for quite a while. It's amazing because the same people right now who are calling for deplatforming, the same people who are calling for corporations not to do business with people who are conservative, the same people who are attempting.
He's lumping it in. That's not true. It just happens to be that conservatives are the loudest about white supremacy. Again, disingenuous.
To boot people from platforms that were supposed to be places for open discussion and debate. Those same people complain that the right lives in an echo chamber. Well, one of the reasons that the right has increasingly lived in an echo chamber is because the left has forced everybody outside the Overton window. The left continues to shrink the Overton window so that it encompasses only them and only their friends. Everyone else will be canceled. Everyone else will lose access to even speak to other people. And what we are watching right now is one of the most dangerous moments in modern American history. Not just because of what happened at the Capitol last week. That was extraordinarily dangerous, and we are finding out new details showing how extraordinarily dangerous that was for the Congress people, for the vice president, for everybody inside, for the police officers. A second police officer committed suicide over the weekend. Right? It was an extraordinarily dangerous event. But it turns out that on the back of extraordinarily dangerous events, extraordinarily terrible things can take place. And one of the things that is taking place right now is the division of America into conservative and liberal. This could be a unifying moment, as I said last week, because everybody of sound mind looks at what happened at the Capitol last week and is appalled and thinks it's disgusting and horrible. Instead, what we are watching is the exacerbation of an underlying philosophical rift. And not just that. What we are watching is the formalization of that rift so that now you are just not going to be able to associate with anybody on the opposite side of the aisle because the people on the other side of the aisle will not want to associate with you in any way, shape, or form. Axios is basically admitting that this morning. So Axios has a short piece by Mike Ellen and Jim Vandehey. And here's what they write. Republicans are losing power where power matters most at the national level, in politics, media, technology, and the workplace. Okay, this is right.
No, it is not. It is not right. It is not right at all. That's alarming. That you're able to make yourself out to be the victim because you know why it's happening and you refuse to say it. You have an audience right there. Just say. There are a lot of people who, from the Conservative Party, have gone absolutely off the rails, and these people deserve to be deplatformed for literally inciting violence and considering other people to be the enemy, the enemy, the enemy. And therefore, perhaps maybe they shouldn't have a voice in how we live our lives. They shouldn't be the people that we chop up bread with. They shouldn't be the people that work at these factories with. They shouldn't be the people that we get coffee with. They shouldn't be the people like Germany did a great job of that, and even they have a resurgence. So what about America, in which we never finished the Reconstruction to even stop Confederate ideals from like living out through? We didn't. Therefore, we are here now.
And this happens to be correct. The right is being barred from the halls of power in nearly every area of American life, from sports to Hollywood, from technology to your workplace. Right? You're getting the letters from your employer saying that if you posted in favor of Trump back in September, or if you said, I'm voting for Trump back in September, or if you posted against Black Lives Matter back in August, well, you know, you may lose your job. All your friends are going to look at you askance.
So there are consequences for your ideologies. See, cancel culture exists only for when the left doesn't like something the right says. But you just brought up examples of human rights fighting and people who disagree with that. Like why don't you? Oh, I agree with Black Lives Matter, but not the organization. Okay, so help us with the non-organization. But y'all rioting and y'all violently and y'all looting. At least we ain't kill no. At least we ain't kill no people.
If you work in the tech industry and you signify that you are in favor of sites like Daily Wire or Daily Caller or anyone on the right not being shadow banned or downplayed, you might find yourself on the firing line. The political conflict that has characterized the country since inception, right? I mean, that's never stopped, has now boiled over into every area of American life. This is where it affects Americans because who wins Congress, who doesn't win Congress, that has some impact on your life, right? Who wins the presidency, who doesn't win the presidency, that has some impact on your life in terms of regulations and taxes and policy. But what really has impact on your life is how you are treated by your friends, by your neighbors, by your employers, by the out.
That's wrong. We all kind of fuck with Bush one way or another. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's a lie. The values that these people have become part of your lifestyle as you are branded either Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, etc. And those values tell me like what type of conversations we're going to have, what type of life values do you hold, what type of morals do you have. And while you could be completely against, like I just said earlier, goes right back to the guy I met, voted for Trump. I was like, he explained himself, explained everything, explained his worldview on just general topics. There was no issue there. Find me those people. Those are the people who should be the next leaders of the Republican Party. I'm here for the policy. I'm not a white supremacist. I'm not no QAnon. I'm none of that. I'm here for like deregulation and putting money back in people's pockets while the Democrats are more focused on social issues. That's the compromise. The people who he's talking about have nothing. He's not talking about that. He's not talking about that at all. And that's the problem, is that he's not talking about that at all. And he knows that he's not talking about that at all. So he gets to do this thing where he makes himself out to be the victim, yet again, for a situation that he and his people brought upon themselves. Therefore, you just fighting with yourself, bro.
Outlets that you use, by the culture that surrounds you, and all of that is being twisted against you right now if you are a conservative. And Axios is pointing this out because Axios happens to be correct about this. They say Republicans often felt mistreated when they had real power in the form of the presidency and the Senate. Watch Fox News or listen to Ben Shapiro. You will see and hear how this new isolation will feed Republican worries and grievances in the months ahead. You see, we're pouncing. Well, maybe the problem isn't that Fox News and Ben Shapiro are pouncing on this. Maybe the problem is that people are doing this in the first place. I've made my own show very often a place for discussion and debate. We did the Sunday special every week for 2 years? And the Sunday special was designed to allow me to talk to people on the other side of the aisle. You know how many people refused to come on the show? You know how many people said, I literally will not sit in the same room as you and have a discussion with you because that might legitimize your position? This happened on a routine basis. You can ask our producers who are asking people across the aisle from us on the show every single week. Democrats, according to Axios, will soon control the White House, Senate, and House. They already dominate most mainstream newsrooms, own big tech companies, and often band together inside corporations to force politically motivated decisions. Republicans will be left with Mitch McConnell as party leader of a 50-50 Senate, primetime in Fox News and the Wall Street Journal editorial page. Most importantly, the right has the Supreme Court, which might prove to be the one reliable counterbalance and the majority of power at the state level. But here's the key point. Conservatives long ago lost so many key institutions that define national conversation, including culture, media, and higher education. Now President Trump has cost Republicans those tools of political power and policymaking. The party will have to rebuild around new people and ideas. Well, that's a change from what Axios originally argued. Originally, they said, we are now going to rethink things like free speech, freedom of association in this country.
Disingenuous and a liar. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.